Women often present themselves as unshakable, strong, self-sufficient, and totally in control. But any man who's truly paid attention knows that strength, sometimes it's just armor. And behind that armor are softer, quieter spaces. Places most men never reach. But the right man? He doesn't push, he's invited in. This isn't about playing mind games. It's about perception. It's about seeing beyond the image into the unspoken. You've been told attraction is about wealth, status, or a chiseled jawline. But the truth? Real magnetism lives in silence, in tension, in the energy she feels but can't explain. Every woman, no matter how tough, successful, or guarded, melts in the presence of a man who gets this. A man who speaks less, but says more. Who doesn't perform, but perceives. While most guys chase what they can touch, the Stoic man tunes into what's hidden. He doesn't overdo. Yes. And that calm, grounded presence? It stirs her. Not just desire, but deep, involuntary craving. Not because he's flashy or loud, but because he's unshakable. He doesn't flinch when she tests him. He doesn't try to impress. He impresses by simply being. When you move through life with that kind of awareness, you don't chase her. She feels the pull. Like gravity. This isn't manipulation. This is mastery. And once you truly understand it, you'll never need to prove yourself again. So stay tuned, because we're about to uncover 10 female psychological weaknesses most men never see coming. Secrets that'll change the way you move. But I'll say this once. Use what you learn here responsibly. Let's get into it. Number 1. The silent power of a man's touch. She might look composed, independent, unbothered, but there's something most men miss. Beneath all that strength, there are quiet switches. And one of the fastest ways to flip one is touch. But not just any kind. Not careless. Not forced. Not loud. We're talking about touch that feels grounded, intentional. The kind that says, I'm here, fully. Because attraction? It's not just about eye contact or clever words. It's chemical, primal, unspoken. You see, in 2013 researchers revealed something fascinating. Even the lightest touch, done right, can increase oxytocin in a woman's brain. That's the hormone tied to trust, warmth, and emotional connection. That's why a woman unsure of her feelings can suddenly find herself drawn in after a simple, effortless brush of your hand. A moment, a spark, no overthinking, just feeling. Maybe it's the subtle way you guide her with your hand on her lower back, or the light touch of your fingers on her wrist as you share a laugh. She might not even notice it consciously, but her body does. Here's where it gets interesting. This kind of touch doesn't shout. It whispers to her nervous system. And in that silence, something stirs. Something she doesn't even understand yet. But here's the trap most men fall into. They overdo it. They're too eager, too frequent, too mechanical. And that ruins everything. The secret? Restraint. A grounded man doesn't reach to take. He touches to connect. Not to impress, but to express calm certainty. He doesn't seek permission. His energy already speaks for him. And when he finally reaches out, even just once, it echoes in her memory. Because it wasn't desperate. It was deliberate. Suddenly she starts associating his touch with safety, with masculinity, with something rare. She may still pretend to be in full control, but something deep inside her has shifted. And now, she wants that moment again. Not because it overwhelmed her, but because it centered her. This isn't a trick. It's not about tactics. It's about presence. Touch, when done with awareness, doesn't overpower. It anchors. And the man who masters this, he doesn't chase chemistry. He becomes the source of it. And what's even more powerful than touch? Stick around, because the next weakness goes even deeper. And most men have no clue it exists. Number 2, why drama keeps her coming back. Most men think all a woman wants is calm, peace, security, a stress-free life. And sure, she does want that, but not on its own. Because when peace becomes routine, it starts to feel like silence. And silence kills connection. Here's the truth most men don't get. Women are emotional creatures. They don't bond through logic. They connect through experience, through contrast, through motion, through energy. She doesn't fall in love with stillness. She falls in love with the feelings that move her. That's why when a relationship gets too smooth, too level, too safe, it starts to fade into the background. It becomes noise. She won't always leave physically, but mentally, emotionally, she starts checking out. So here's the twist. It's not drama she's after. It's depth. It's not chaos she craves. It's contrast. A man who understands this doesn't stir the pot to get attention. He creates emotional range, not confusion, but unpredictability with purpose. Psychologists have long known that dopamine, the reward chemical, spikes when emotions rise and fall. That's why we binge great shows, get lost in music, and fall hard for someone who makes us feel. The man who knows how to spark laughter one moment and challenge her ideas the next keeps her locked in, not because he's mysterious, but because he's alive. She doesn't always know what's coming next from him, but she knows he's steady. That balance between warmth and mystery, that's what makes him irresistible. As Robert Greene wisely put it, too much presence and you become boring. Too much absence and you become forgotten. But the man who dances between both, he becomes unforgettable. Because real attraction isn't built in comfort zones. It lives in motion. It breathes through change. It thrives in emotional rhythm. And next up, we're going even deeper into the one behavior that makes her obsess without even realizing it. Stay locked in. Number 3, the power of what you can't have. If there's one truth that never changes, it's this. We crave what we can't easily have. And women, they feel this even deeper. The guy who's always around, always the first to text, always available on demand. He seems nice at first, but over time, he fades into the background. Predictable, safe, easy to forget. Now enter a different kind of man, one with his own rhythm, his own mission. He's not avoiding her. He's just not revolving around her. And that subtle difference, it pulls her in. Psychologist Robert Cialdini called it the scarcity principle. The rarer something is, the more value we place on it. It works with everything: money, art, even attention. Especially attention. When a woman senses you're always there, she stops noticing. But when she senses you're just slightly out of reach, not because you're playing it cool, but because you're locked in on your goals, she leans forward. She wonders. She feels the pull. You're not chasing. You're choosing. And that changes everything. A man with options doesn't beg. He doesn't need to impress. He knows who he is and where he's going. And if he walks away, it's not a tactic. It's a reflection of self-respect. He doesn't ghost. He doesn't vanish. He simply refuses to orbit anyone. That distance? It's not coldness. It's clarity. And clarity is magnetic. Because when a man doesn't need her attention, that's when she starts giving it. Coming up next, there's one emotional shift that flips her entire view of you. And most men never realize they triggered it. You'll want to catch this one. Number 4, the subtle power of your voice. She's not just listening to what you say. She's tuning into how you say it. Because a man's voice carries more than words. It carries energy, tone, pace, presence. It's not just sound, it's signal. A man who speaks with calm authority doesn't need to shout. His words land differently. They move through her ears and settle into her body. She doesn't process it with thought, she feels it with instinct. And science backs this up. A study from the University of Aberdeen found that women naturally rate deeper male voices as more attractive. Why? Because they're linked, without her realizing, to confidence, power, and primal safety. But here's what most men get wrong. It's not just pitch. It's pace. Speak too quickly and you sound unsure. Speak too slowly and it feels like hesitation. But speak with calm rhythm? You pull attention without trying. Think of the man in the movie who doesn't rush. He pauses. He speaks like every word matters. He's not just talking, he's commanding presence. And that space between his words, that stillness, that's where the magic happens. Most guys try to sound smooth, but real power isn't in talking. It's in knowing when to pause. That pause before you respond. When she leans in just a little. That's not silence. That's control. The Stoic man doesn't raise his voice. He doesn't ramble. He doesn't need to fill the room. He speaks with intention, with clarity. And that calm, steady tone, it leaves a mark. Because when a man learns to speak with presence, he doesn't just get heard. He gets remembered. And next, we're diving into a trigger even more subtle. It doesn't just catch her attention, it shifts how she sees you. You won't want to miss this. Number 5, the hidden power of tension. Most guys rush. They feel that spark and immediately try to lock it in. They spill feelings too early, push for something serious before there's real depth. And just like that, they kill the mystery. And without mystery, desire fades. Attraction isn't born in comfort. It's born in tension, in the pause, in the not yet. Think about the best movies you've seen. It's not the ending that hits you. It's the build-up, the moments that make you lean in, the parts that keep you guessing. Women are wired the same. They don't want everything handed to them on day one. They want to discover you. They want to feel like they're peeling back layers, not being handed the whole script. Move too fast? You rob her of that experience. You don't seem passionate. You seem predictable. And predictable kills the spark. But the Stoic man, he gets the rhythm. He doesn't rush. He doesn't freeze. He lets moments breathe. He's not cold, he's just composed. He lets the quiet moments do the work. He creates something most men never will. Anticipation. And when she can't quite figure you out, when she's curious, intrigued, leaning in, her heart stays open. This isn't about games. It's about timing. Because when something unfolds slowly, it feels earned. And what's earned is respected. Up next, there's one subtle shift that makes her feel you even when you're not speaking. And most men completely miss it. Let's keep going. Number 6, the invisible pull of jealousy. Desire isn't just sparked by connection. It's influenced by what she perceives. You might think she's drawn purely by how you treat her, but something deeper is at play. The moment she realizes other women notice you, something quietly shifts. She doesn't analyze it. She feels it. Psychologist Robert Cialdini called this social proof. We instinctively value what others already value. And when it comes to attraction, that rule hits even harder. She's not just watching you. She's watching how others react to you. Because a high-value man, he's not defined by what he says, but by the way the world responds to his presence. Think about it. Celebrities, leaders, men with quiet pull. They're not chasing. They're chosen. They don't ask for attention. They attract it. But here's where most men mess up. They pour everything into one woman, thinking that shows loyalty. But in her eyes, it often signals you have no other options. And no options can look like no value. This isn't about being a player. It's about understanding perception. If she feels like she's your only shot, she holds the power. But when she senses, genuinely, that you could walk away, that you're good with or without her, that changes everything. Because she doesn't just want a kind man. She wants a man others quietly desire. The one who doesn't need to convince, because his presence already speaks for him. And next, we'll reveal the one silent behavior that makes her chase your energy, even when you say nothing at all. You're not going to want to miss this. Number 7, the magnetism of unshaken presence. She might say she wants an equal, and she does. But what pulls her in? It's a man who leads without needing permission to be himself. Leadership isn't about control, it's about direction. And direction? That's magnetic. When a man moves with intent, speaks with clarity, and takes action without hesitation, he lights up something primal in her. Not because she's fragile, but because women instinctively trust solid ground. And that's what strength is. Not aggression, but stability under pressure. And that's why she'll test you. Not to be difficult, but to see if you fold when things feel shaky. If you start second-guessing yourself. If you wait for her to lead. If you keep asking for permission. She starts to disconnect. Attraction fades quietly. When you start needing her validation just to move. But the man who doesn't ask, should I? Every 5 minutes, he simply says, this is where I'm going. You're welcome to come along. That steady, grounded energy, she feels it. She may not say it out loud, but she respects it deeply. Because it's not obedience that sparks desire. It's composure. When a man leads from calm, not ego, he doesn't just gain attention. He earns trust. And up next, there's one silent behavior that builds tension without a single word. And it draws her in like gravity. Let's keep going. Number 8. The chemistry of emotional pull. She'll tell you she wants peace. No drama, no games, no chaos. And she's telling the truth. But peace without feeling? It doesn't reach her soul. Because women don't fall through logic. They fall through emotion. And emotion doesn't live in still waters. It lives in the waves. A man who never surprises her, never stirs her, never throws off the rhythm. He may seem safe, but he slowly becomes invisible. What actually pulls her in isn't instability. It's emotional movement. It's spark, then calm. Warmth, then pause. Like a song that keeps shifting. It's that unexpected rhythm that keeps her heart tuned in. The man who's always available, always agreeable, always chasing, he may win her comfort, but never her craving. The Stoic man knows better. He's not trying to impress. He's making her feel. He doesn't force emotion, he holds space for it. A look that lingers, a moment of silence, a playful challenge that leaves her wondering. She doesn't remember perfection. She remembers how you made her feel. Not with chaos, but with presence. Because what she truly wants is to feel alive next to you. And when you can awaken that feeling without losing your calm, you don't just become the man she wants. You become the one she can't forget. Next up, there's a subtle trigger that builds obsession without saying a word. And it's one most men never see coming. Let's go deeper. Number 9, the power of imagination. Attraction isn't just about how you look. It's about the space you leave behind when you're no longer around. It's not always your words that echo. It's the silence you leave behind. A woman doesn't just fall for a man. She falls for the feeling he leaves in his absence. The energy he carries. The pause in his presence. The mystery her mind can't quite solve. Why do women get hooked on men they barely know? Think actors, icons, leaders. It's not just the fame. It's the fantasy. The space to imagine, to wonder, to feel. Here's what most men get wrong. They reveal too much too fast. They answer every question, explain every move, fill every silence. But mystery isn't a trick. It's discipline. It's knowing when to hold back, not because you're hiding, but because you don't need to be fully read at once. You let her feel your depth, not define it. You give her just enough to feel intrigued, not overwhelmed. And that subtle gap between what's said and what's left hanging, that's where obsession starts. This doesn't mean you're cold. It means you're composed. You don't speak just to fill air. You don't share to prove your worth. You let her imagination do the work. Because what sticks with her isn't what you said that night. It's what she replays in her mind the next morning. The Stoic man isn't unreadable because he's hiding. He's unreadable because his truth runs deeper than one conversation. And that quiet depth keeps her curious. Coming next, there's one thing women feel in their body that makes them chase you emotionally, even when they don't understand why. Let's reveal it. Number 10, the surrender switch. She may be fierce, independent, and fully capable. But even the most powerful woman wants one thing: to feel safe enough to exhale. Not to be dominated, not to be controlled, but to relax into the presence of a man who doesn't crack under pressure. A man like that doesn't force surrender. He makes it feel safe. It's not about power plays. It's about emotional steadiness. She leans in not because he demands it, but because something in her says, he's solid. Real trust doesn't come from noise. It's built through quiet cues. The calm tone, the unshaken posture, the clear direction that needs no explanation. When a man truly knows who he is, he doesn't argue for control. He embodies it. And in that stillness, she stops guarding. She lets herself be led, not because she's less, but because she finally feels safe enough to be fully feminine. Most men try to impress, but the grounded man, he holds his frame, and she feels it. She doesn't understand why she's drawn in. She just is. That's the quiet power of masculine calm. No tension, no trying, just steady presence. If this message brought you any value, tap that like button, subscribe to become Stoic, and check out the next video now showing on your screen. We dive even deeper into the hidden dynamics between men and women. Stay focused, stay rooted, and always stay one step ahead. See you there.